Shabbat Shalom, Mutahab tribe, Mutahab. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope everyone out there is blessed. Hope everyone has been having a good time with this new year. Hope everyone's family is doing well. Hope everyone's spirit is at peace. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get back into this classroom with another drop, as it were. Today I just wanted to, first and foremost say thank you guys who have been rocking with me. I've been doing this for a while now, and as you guys know, I don't drop the drop to gain followers or subscribers. I try to make it entertaining, but it's not for entertainment, as it were. It's a search for indigenous truth, and the search is an individual search, but the drop is for the tribe, and that's why we keep the waters flowing and the fires burning over at TDR432thedrop.com. I want to say much ahab to all those who have joined us over there, as well as our own individual alcoves, as it were, across the plane, across the various mediums that's out there, whether it's on YouTube, on the site, whether it's on Instagram, the whole 9 yards. And again, I want to say thank you in that regard, and keep showing that love, keep showing that ahab, and we're gonna continue to build, continue to grow, as it were. If you've been following over at TDR, I have my show Templar Up Tuesdays at 7 Pacific Standard Time, and right now we're getting into strangers and Gentiles, and I want to parallel, I guess, what we're, the classroom here, what's going on over there. So you'll be able to, if you're only listening to the drop over there, it's self-contained, and then if you listen to the drop over here, it is self-contained, but they do go parallel, and that's what I think. What I'm going to do moving forward is try to be more consistent with that and that type of a frame. You guys tell me how you like it as we move forward. So this drop today is going to be coincide with that, and I'll get into more of that here in a second. Also, probably, hopefully, this weekend I'll get everything out. But Brother Hiram had requested a drop, so to speak, as it were, and I'm going to get into that. Be making that, so look out for that here shortly. And we're going to get into some a kind of a different explanation into the whole Esau and Jacob situation, and how that affects us in our history, as well as how that affects us in our now. But today I want to kind of cover the basis on a few things, and this goes from observing the current flow that's out there in the ether. We're getting bombarded with a lot of information. It went from real quickly. It went from things being sealed, and then it sharply went from things being revealed, and then it went from that to this rapid expansion of information, and now we're at this point of information overload, almost, where there's so much information that we can nitpick and find holes, and if you notice, the last couple of months to about a year, you've been noticing this a lot of infighting in the so-called Negro community, and there's plenty of factors with that. There's a lot of nuance and novelties that are transpiring, but what I think we need to do here is literally empty our cup and swallow whatever we've been currently consuming, wash it down with what's in our cup, and empty our cup and start over. And what I mean by that is we really need to start evaluating the difference between an honest enemy versus a lying friend. I'll say that again. We really need to start understanding the difference between an honest enemy and a lying friend. Now, in a recent powwow with the Shabbatah, I had presented a thought that came out of a book, Golden Compass, I believe it is. And the question came up: if you had to spend the rest of your life with someone, and you can only choose one, which would you choose? A murderer or a thief? And it's a real psychological dynamic when you consider if you can spend the rest of your life with just one other person, and you have to choose between a liar and a thief, which would you choose? Again, the honest enemy versus the lying friend. Now, right now, what we know is what? All current systems that we're experiencing have had a mutual run for the last 3 to 4 generations. Now, 3 to 4 generations is roughly 80 to 120 years. Okay? Now, despite everything, we must critically analyze our current state of affairs and ask the question, are we better off? Because at some point, if we don't ask the question if we're better off, then we're going to be chasing our own tail, running around in circles. And even as of recently, you have this Childish Gambino video that's blew up like a wildstorm with of artistic expression, and because the data, the reason why I bring this up is because the data says that 120 years ago, that brings us to roughly about 1900s, almost to the day, right? This right around this time frame, about 1880s to the 1900s, 1920s, this 80 to 120 years ago, there's a lot going down, and it would seem and it would appear that out of this that 20 to 40 year period, things really drastically change. And from looking before that time period, and then after, and a lot of this is hidden in what they would say the Industrial Revolution, Manifest Destiny, things of that nature. A lot of code words, as it were. But when you look at the data, it would appear that we were better off in the 1900s, 1918, than we are today in 2018. So, are we lying to ourselves? You would think that we would be better off after Jim Crow. You think that we will be better off after the Civil War, right? You think we'll be better off after, but our family structure is gone. We had more businesses, they're all gone. We had more land, that's all gone. And where did that all come from? Why is that the case? Now, if you answer the question, if we, without thinking about it, regardless of your response, if we are better off now than we were then you might be in the mind of hijack. We've been living with a spoon in our mouth, and whether that spoon is a silver spoon or not, bullshit tastes the same. That's all of us. So that don't matter if dealing with the boule. It don't matter if you someone in entertainment like a Kanye or Jay-Z or Bill Cosby. It doesn't matter if the little homie in the back of the classroom. The gangster on the street. The brother that's trying to run his own business. The whole night, the whole spectrum, as it were. We're getting fed this bullshit. Now, what we need to do is put down our doctrines and our metaphysical faith beliefs so that we can judge, where we are, what we've learned, how we are, etc. Ask those dragon questions. Activate our Dragon 9 and really sit down and analyze where we are. Because after further review, we can, pick back up those doctrines if we so choose. But we have to be honest about what's being presented to us. And why is this important? Because with every doctrine, there are a set of sins that you got to own up to. And, judge that doctrine, guilty of being a hijacker or not. I'll liken the example of the computer programmer. I can write a whole bunch of lines of code, but if the line of code is wrong in the beginning, I don't care how right or how much code I write, my end result is not going to be correct. And we got to get to this point and start thinking: are we trying to operate on a system that the original direct operating system code is off? Now, where do we begin? Well, we can mutually or universally or Catholically agree that we were enslaved for 400 years. Now, you have Kanye saying that slavery was a choice and getting you all distracted with all the information that's coming out, all the work that everybody's been doing, and want you to parlay this argument on whether slavery was a choice or not. But everyone's basing that off of what? This theme of a slave for 400 years. You've been a slave for 400 years, and my people, when you put back the histories and the timelines, you weren't a slave that long ago, and you weren't a slave for 400 years. And as we go through this next set of a series of classrooms to coincide with what I'm going to do with the old over on TDR, with Templar Up, you're going to have an understanding and see that we haven't been enslaved for 400 years. It's something that I like what Brother King say. If you're regurgitating something that they taught you in the 5th grade, then you might still be in the mind of a hijack, right? Any case, but this is the lie that we must cipher in order to decipher the truth. When you go back to the maps and you go back to the books, I promise you, everything seems to line up. Everything seems to really pop off after the Revolutionary War. Something happens after 1776. But for 170 years, there's a different going on. Okay? Now, it was seen that this lie is the undermining factor to the lack of valor and code. And that's what we're going to get into today. I'm always talking about valor. But today, my people, my Shabbatah, we are going to cover code. Now, before we begin, I hope you guys have been enjoying the scenery. Can y'all see that? Nice and beautiful. You know, giving you guys a little 4-3-2 mimosa jazz. Going a little old school today, y'all. Doing a little old school. You know, we've been rocking with the war drums, the waters of Howdah, you know, the indigenous flutes. And but I felt a little old school coming back, you know, now that we're in springtime, we're in the new year, I wanted to kind of do something more, a little bit more chill. So I hope the audio is coming across okay and clear. And as we get this lesson today, you know, make sure you show that a hop, show that love, and you know, and enjoy some jazz here. You know, definitely 4-3-2 to drop. You know what I'm saying? You can go over here, you can listen, pop out the radio if you want to. You can do a search anything you want to on 432todrop.com. You know, got the different vibe sweeps. You know, so today we on that mimosa jazz. You know, go to the Drop Library, get them books. You know, open the chat room. You know, and vibe with the tribe. So, you know, just want to go do a little throwback, old school for this Shabbatah. All right, for this Shalom. All right, let's see here. So we're gonna start things off with code, and we're gonna get into this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to this time period where it all began and all changed, and with all these doctrines. And you're going to notice that all modern doctrines that we, you know, no matter what they say their historical backgrounds and references are, they're all their doctrines. It seems to, you know, universally, equal opportunity, as it were, sprout up between about 1886 to about 1918. Somewhere in there. And, but we got to understand code first and get on code. So let's start with code. Okay? Code. Code is a noun, okay? 13th century. Systematic compilation of laws. From Old French, code, system of law. Law book, 13th century. From Latin, codex. Systematic classification of statutory law. Earlier, codex, book. Literally, tree trunk. You see that? Tree trunk. Talk about them cedar trees, right? Hence, book made up of wooden tablets covered with wax for writing. Devon traces this through Proto-Italic Codec to pi kehud, cleaved or separate. Cleave or separate. Notice how the one thing I applaud Brother King for is because over and over he keeps saying and pounding in your head, you are the book. You are the one who has been cleaved. You are the one who has been marginalized or made separate. Okay? This is your story. And this is what I tell you. Take it all back. Take back your name, your histories, your titles, your duchess, your dukes, your duchies, and your princes, and all of it. But you got to stand on code to be able to do it. Okay? Code, let's see, which he also sees as the root for what? The kata, or tail. See, coda. Okay, meaning what? Cipher. We were digging on the Jashir, the book of Jashir, and the cipher Yesarah. Okay, system of signals and the rules which govern their use. The sense in secret code from 1808, just 4 years prior to the what? War 1812. Code name is from the 1879 in telegraphy. Okay? Meaning system of expressing information and instruction in a form usable by a computer is from 1946. Okay? So let's go on it real briefly as a verb to put into code 1815. Okay? From code noun specifically to put into a computer code from 1947. Okay? In transitive sense, write computer code by 1987. Okay? I hope you guys are following where I'm going and see the Dragon 9 and what I've been saying. Now let's dig on it. Coda, tail, right? Okay. Coda, passage added to a musical composition for the purpose of bringing it to a conclusion. Okay? Funny because, and I never did the drop on it, but there is a drop out there. You can look it up on YouTube. How this beautiful African tribe and family explain how we're all sound, we're all music. And I'm probably gonna do one later if y'all remind me, but you can look it up. It really is really shocking because it goes back into how we're the copper colored people and how that all connects. And I'll get into I might get into the alchemy behind it, the platonic solids. I know a lot of you out there like it when I break down the dragon magics behind this type of stuff. But let's continue. This is from 1753. Okay, from late Latin cauda, tail of an animal, which is of uncertain origin. Now, why is that important? Because I think it was Brother Nate. He has said that anytime that it's you see that it's uncertain origin, they're talking about you. Now, you might be thinking, well, Irvin, how does that play into this tail of an animal? Well, we're talking about a dragon, first of all. And let's see here. Let's bring it up. Dragon. Kind of winged serpent, but celebrated in the romances of the Middle Ages. A fiery, shooting meteor or imaginary serpent. Swift, ye dragons of the night, that dawning may be near the raven's eye. A fierce, violent person, male or female. This man or woman is a dragon. Now, why is this important? Let's keep it going. Because when we get down here, right, and I brought this up before to bring it to your attention about dragon. What does it say? A dragon, a noun, a genus of animals. The Draco. What? A fierce. Bring it back. Come on. There we go. A fierce, violent person, male or female. This man or woman is a dragon. Dragon, noun, a genus of an animal. Bring it back to coda. Talking about a tail, right? Now, without getting prolific or graphic, the tail of a man is his man part. Okay, that's his tail, right? This is where you get into why a lot of when you start studying about a lot of your Moorish history, the Barbary Treaties, this, that, and the other, a lot of their servants of these Arab servants were these Moors, these black people, and their eunuchs. They had their parts chopped off. They had their tail cut off. Okay? They were cleaved. Okay? From the root, ku, star K-H-U. He writes, since words for piece, part, are often derived from to cut, cleave, the tail may have been referred to as the loose part of an animal. Okay? Your loose part, right? And why is this important? Because the Hebrew were circumcised, whereas other peoples were what? Uncircumcised. Okay? But let's go to continue down this path, because from code and from coda, we get these other entries of coward and Q. Okay, let's check out coward. Coward, one who lacks courage to meet danger or shrink from the chance of being hurt. Mid-13th century. From Anglo-French coward, Old French cohort, coward. No longer the usual word in French, which has now in this sense, poltron, from Italian lache, from co, meaning tail, from Latin coda, popular dialect variant of cauda, meaning tail. See, coda plus the suffix ard, ard, an agent noun, suffix denoting one that carries on some action or possesses some quality with derogatory connotation. So, why is that important? Well, believe it or not, it goes back into Nehemiah 4 and 14. It goes back into Hosea chapter 3, verse 4 and 5. You see, to stand up, to protect your tails, protect your seed, it is a derogatory connotation, because you're resisting. You're building a wall of protection. Okay? Sorry about that. So now, let's continue. The word probably reflects an animal metaphoric sense, still found in expressions like what? Turning tail and tail between legs. Cohort was the name of the hare in the Old French version of Reynard the Fox. Italian cordardo, Spanish cobarde, Old Spanish cobarde are from French. The spelling in English was influenced by cow. Notice that, okay? Why is that important? Well, why is that important? Go back to our Picto-Paleo, right? Because we're Americans. If my computer doesn't take forever to pull it up. There we go. Alright, let's get it. The cow. Okay? The L. The ox head. Which is what? Strong, power, or leader. Where is the quote-unquote leader in the black community? Where is this coward? Right? Now, also, remember what I said in prior drop. They love this here. They like to anthropomorphize. If I'm saying it right, I'm having tongue twisters today. but use these animalistic analogies and stuff like that. Calling one, or the mixing of understanding of what is a dragon. The same thing with a dog. Same thing with a phoenix and the dragon, a lion and a dragon, a griffin and a dragon. Things of that nature. Let's see here. The identification of coward and bully has gone so far in the popular consciousness that persons and acts in which no trace of fear is to be found are often called coward or cowardly merely because advantage has been taken of superior strength or position. Let's get that back one more time, okay? The identification of coward and bully has gone so far in the popular consciousness that persons and acts in which no trace of fear is to be found are often called cowardly. Now, hold on. Because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just making this up when I say this goes back to Nehemiah 4 and 14. Well, what's Nehemiah 4 and 14 since I'm bringing it up? Let's get it like this the first time. Nehemiah 4 and 14. And I looked and rose up and said to the nobles, to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, be ye not afraid of them. Remember Hawah, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons, your daughter, your wives, and your houses. But to do that, check out, is to be cowardly. We've been conditioned in the last 180 to 120 years to believe in this derogatory connotation. Okay? When we talk about being on code and we need to get back on code, and yet we don't know what code means. Alright? As the surname attested from mid-13th century, it represents Old English "coo-herd" or "cowherd" as an adjective lacking courage, timorous, from late 13th century. Farmer has coward's castle, a pulpit, because a clergyman may deliver himself therefrom without fear of contradiction or argument. A farmer, right, has coward's castle, a pulpit, because a clergyman may deliver himself. Interesting, right? Therefrom, without fear of what? Contradiction or argument. There's a difference between the law of polarity and the law of duality. Stop being fooled by the law of duality. It's conflicting, it's combative. Okay, versus being simply juxtaposed. And again, I'm not just making this up. This is in the word of keeping code, right? You gotta get back on code. Let's get it. The Q. Alright? Late 15th century. Band attached to a letter with seals dangling on the free end. Band attached to a letter with seals dangling on the free end. So we're talking about a fringe or a tisset. Okay? A tisset. Let me bring that one up because I don't think you guys, just to show you what a tisset is, right? Your blue and white fringe. I hope I can remember spell it right. A tisset. I think I spelled it correctly. A tisset. Hebrew, modern tisset, Tiberian, I can't pronounce that, or that one, are especially knotted ritual fringes, or tassels, worn in antiquity by Israelites and today by observant Jews and Samaritans. Tisset, let's go to image. Let's go to some images. Okay. Your fringes. Your fringes. Okay. Let's go back to the Q. Band attached to a letter with seals dangling in the free end. Okay? From French Q, a tail, Old French Q or co, tail. And look what it look. 12th century, also penis. Told you, I'm not making this stuff up. Not making this stuff up at all. And you guys think that, you know, I'm talking about the Holy Grail and the Dragon Nine and the bloodline of David and who is this House of David and who is the Prester John, and, it's we got to get back on code. But if we're gonna get back on code, we got to put down these doctrines and get back on code for real. And if you want to pick up those doctrines after we get back on code, cool beans. Yeah, that's what you do. But until then, we got to stop playing this game and falling subject to this information overload and this barnacle age of just wanting to argue for arguing's sake over information, over data, without putting pieces together. Okay, from Latin coda, dialect variant or alternate form of cauda, meaning tail. See coda, also in literal use in 16th century English, tail of the beast, especially in heraldry. Now we're getting back into what your shields, right? Your flags, right? That's what we're getting back into, right? That's what we're getting back into. Open that back up for you. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. But this is what we're talking about. My computer's running so slow. Probably time for me to get a new one. But in any case, it's gonna pop up on me later. But that's what we're talking about, right? And this is why I also say it's important to know what your name is and get your history on that. A lot of times, especially with these 23andMe's and stuff like that, you're finding out that you may be coming from a different part than what you've been told, but you're not understanding that those lands that you quote unquote originate from is still a part of the same tribe. You know what I'm saying? And just gotta understand that how far the Tidewater people actually, how much land actually populate across the plain. Now let's see here. In the Middle English metaphoric extension to what? Line of dancers, 15th century, led to extended sense of line of people, etc., 1837. So, what line of dancers? Well, we're talking about Miriam, right? The line of dancers, that's Miriam. That's the Lady Dracon, sister of Moses, who leads the what? Line of dancers. Into the extended sense, a line of people. Or what? A wall of protection. Go back and read your Nehemiah. They were building a wall, and they had to wear the armor during the time because they were attacked. But they especially on the Sabbath. Okay, let's keep it going. We're talking about a sea of people. a dragon, as it were. You gotta know what that means. Also used in 18th century in sense of what? Braid of hair hanging down behind. First attested in 1740. I mean, I'm done, man. We need to get back on code. I think, let's just dismount with this. Let's bring it back to the dragon. I want to bring it back to the feminine energy of the dragon. Get back on code, man. Let's get back on code. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the phoenix, right? The Fang Wang, right? That's what we're talking about. Fang Wang, the phoenix, right? The female dragon. Okay. Let's go back down. Let's go back down. Han Dynasty. Wow. In any case, where is it at? What does it mean? Where is it at? And we're gonna get into this in just a second here. But let's get to the meaning. The Fang Wand has very positive connotation. It's a symbol of high virtue and grace. Virtue means valor, okay? Fang Wang also symbolizes the union of yin and yang. The union of yin and yang. You got a picture about that? There you go. Okay. Shanghai, first chapter, Nang Shang Jing records each part of Fang Wang's body symbolizes a word. Okay. The head represents virtue. Okay. Virtue. The wing represents duty. Okay. The back represents propriety. Okay. And we're going to get into that symbol here in a second. Abdomen says credibility. The chest represents mercy. Okay. Dragon code, right? Getting back on code. Well, let's go back up here. I want to check this out here. The colors are said to represent Confucius' 5 virtues. The Ren, the virtue of benevolence, charity, and humanity. The Yi, honesty, uprightness. Yi may be broken down into the Zhong, doing one's best, conscientiousness, loyalty, and Shu, the virtue of reciprocity, altruism, consideration for others. The Ji is knowledge. The Jin, faithfulness and integrity. And then the Li, right? Correct behavior, propriety, good manners, politeness, ceremony, and worship. So let's dig on the Li, right? Because we're talking about Levites. Okay? The Li, okay, is a classical Chinese word which commonly used in Chinese philosophy, partially within Confucianism. Now, let me stop there because, again, I wanted to, jump in real quick and remind everybody that, the 2 wisest men is Solomon and Buddha, and tend to be one and the same. So, just understand that. Now, this symbol here, you've recognized this symbol before. This symbol is very similar to what? It's similar to this here. The symbol for the house of Levi. Okay? The Li. Alright? Check this out. Li does not encompass a definitive object, but rather a somewhat abstract idea, and as such is translated in a number of different ways. The wing sits. Remember we said the tizits? The wing tizit chan. Hold on. My spelling ain't too far off, right? Let's go back to the Li. T-S-I-T T-Z-I-T. Okay. Alright, let's keep it moving. Wrap this up and dismount. Explained that Li originally meant a religious sacrifice, but has come to mean ceremony, ritual, decorum, rules, and propriety, good form, good custom, etc., and has even been equated with what? Natural law. Okay?
Natural law. The rights of Li are not right in the Western conception of religious custom. Rather, Li embodies the entire spectrum of interaction with human, nature, and even material objects. Confucius includes in his discussions of Li such diverse topics as learning, tea drinking, titles, mourning, and governance. Shunji, if I'm saying that correctly, cites songs and laughter, weeping and lamentation, rice and millet, fish and meat, the wearing of ceremonial capes, embroidered robes and patterned silks, or of fasting clothes and mourning clothes, unspacious rooms and very unsecluded halls, hard mat seats and flooring are vital parts of the fabric of Li. Excuse me. Sorry, me. Approaches to Li. Among the earliest historical discussions of Li stand the 25th year of Zhao Gong. Chinese is that there in the pinyin it says Zhao Gong, which is, remember, Hong Kong, okay? In the Zhu Xiao. Li consists of the norms of proper social behavior as taught to others by fathers, village elders, and government officials. Okay? This is why it's important to reinstate the father back into the home. This is why there's a war on the war between man and woman right now, and in all the races. But not to digress. The teachings of Li promoted the ideals such as filial piety, brotherliness, righteousness, good faith, and loyalty. The influence of Li guided public expectations such as the loyalty of superiors and respect for elders in the community. Okay? Continuous with the emphasis